Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we delve into Emotional by Leonard Mlodinow. Published in 2022, the book provides a fascinating exploration into the oft misunderstood realm of human emotions. Mlodinow, with his extensive background as a theoretical physicist and a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, merges neuroscience and psychology to illuminate the vital role emotions play in our lives. He not only elevates our understanding, but also offers practical advice on how to harness our emotional responses, empowering us to lead more fulfilling lives. As the author of multiple bestsellers, including Subliminal, The Drunkard's Walk, and the co-authored The Grand Design with Stephen Hawking, Mlodinow brings a wealth of knowledge and a unique perspective to readers. Emotional is particularly relevant for business professionals seeking to heighten their effectiveness and success through emotional intelligence. It also serves as a guiding beacon for individuals grappling with challenging emotions or those looking to ignite motivation and establish positive habits. Join us as we unpack the lessons and insights of Emotional, with Mlodinow as our guide, on a journey to mastering the art and science of feelings. Whether for personal growth or professional advancement, this episode is a call to all seeking to leverage their emotional strengths in today's world. Emotional: How Feelings Shape Our Thinking. Introduction: Understanding the Power of Emotions for Modern Success. Let's journey back to a time when your daily to-do list might include dodging wild beasts or foraging for your next meal. In those primal days, emotions were not just feelings, they were survival tools. Skillfully navigating fear or using caution could be the difference between life and death. The whispers of instincts and the raw intensity of feelings ensured humanity thrived and evolved. Our formidable forebears who excelled at responding to these emotional cues are the reason we are here today. Fast forward to the present. While the threats we face aren't usually as immediate as a predator's attack, emotions continue to play a pivotal role. However, it's a different game now, with different rules. Feelings that once signaled life-saving choices can nowadays cloud our judgment or lead to conflicts. So, it begs the question: how can we leverage our inherited emotional toolkit for success in the complexity of the modern world? Emotional, by Leonard Mlodinow, seeks to answer precisely this. Diving deep into the contemporary research on neurology and psychology, the book sheds light on a refurbished understanding of emotions. It doesn't just stop at explaining, it provides actionable insights, from strategies to balance emotional responses to ways to optimize them for the workplace, relationships, and personal aspirations. This narrative is about recognizing the whispers of our primordial selves and channeling them for contemporary victory. Our emotions, handed down from the earliest of humans, are waiting to be harnessed, guiding us towards objectives, ambitions, and deeper connections. After all, our capacity to feel is not just about survival anymore. It's about thriving in a world that's intricate and ever-changing. Join me on this exploration of how to understand and use emotions as we learn from Mlodinow to transform our lives, one feeling at a time. Part 1. The Underestimation of Emotion in the Tapestry of Human Science. Imagine a moment teetering on the brink of global annihilation, where one man's hesitance, one man's emotional intuition, became the fulcrum on which our collective fate balanced. In the tense grip of the Cold War, Stanislav Petrov faced the ultimate decision based on a malfunctioning alert: trigger a retaliatory nuclear strike, subsequently cementing the path to World War III, or trust his gut that it was all a grave error. Fortuitously for humanity, Petrov's emotional judgment prevailed, and he reported a system malfunction, averting disaster. Despite such pivotal moments when emotions have proven their invaluable role in human decision-making, there exists a profound skepticism in their reliability. The origins of such skepticism trace back to the classical Greeks, who held that emotion and reason were adversaries, with the latter being the superior facet of human cognition. This dichotomy took root deep within Western thought, propelling a notion that emotions muddle the otherwise pristine waters of logical thinking. Over the centuries, this idea crystallized into theories about the human brain, notably echoing through the halls of science in the likes of Charles Darwin and other thinkers. You might recognize the commonly cited brain division, the primitive reptilian brain, responsible for our instinctual urges, the emotional limbic system, and the crowning glory, the rational neocortex, tasked with reigning in its unruly counterparts. Yet, like the paradigm shifted by quantum physics, modern neuroscience presents us with a revelation. Our cerebral landscape is not so neatly partitioned after all. Advanced brain imaging technologies have illuminated a fluid dance between instinct, emotion, and logic, a dance far more harmonious and interwoven than once depicted. Emotion, it turns out, is no impediment. It is absolutely integral to synthesizing our primal instincts and exercising discernment. Like the reflexive jerk of a hand from a scalding pan, our emotional reflexes are evolutionary assets. They shape our experiences and facilitate more sophisticated responses to various stimuli. As in Petrov's case, it's emotion that bridges the raw and the refined within us, enabling decisions that require more than just programmed reactions. It enables the preservation of life itself. We would do well to recognize its vital role, to understand that the disparagement of emotion is a misconception, and to remember that our capability to feel is not a weakness, but a strength of untold might. Part 2. The profound influence of our gut feelings. When we speak about following our gut feelings, it might sound like an ethereal, whimsical concept, something not entirely reliable or based in reality. Yet this phrase carries more scientific grounding than we often give credit. Consider this astonishing study. Researchers observed mice exhibiting distinct personality traits, separating the intrepid explorers from the more reserved and meek counterparts. By transplanting the gut microbiomes from these varied personality groups to mice raised in a sterile environment, the researchers noticed something remarkable. The recipients began to manifest characteristics akin to their donors. Adventurous mice bequeathed boldness, while timid mice passed on their cautiousness. Astonishing, isn't it? Could our gut bacteria actually help shape our personality? Over time, it's become clear that the realm of mind and body isn't a dichotomy, but rather a confluence where one deeply impacts the other. This unified system within us harbors what scientists refer to as the core affect, a continuous, subconscious assessment of our overall state, gauging everything from physical sensations to surrounding circumstances. More rudimentary than emotion, the core affect stands as a barometer of our well-being along a spectrum from unpleasant to pleasant. It is the primal layer, the murmur of our physiological baseline, that can heavily sway our emotional world. Think about the times you've felt irritable on an empty stomach, or the anxiety that creeps in with exhaustion. This is the core affect, translating bodily discomforts into a preparedness for adverse outcomes, painting our perceptions with shades of foreboding. It's an evolutionary vestige, an internal alert that something, however mundane in modern context, might be amiss. This undertow doesn't just color our moods, it can distinctly alter our choices, often unbeknownst to us. Studies highlight its influence, showing how, for example, the likelihood of parole grants can skew with the time of day, more favorable outcomes aligning with fresher minds. Though the decision makers justify with logic, an unseen factor, the core affect, likely sways these life-changing judgments. Tapping into this internal mechanism isn't just fascinating, it's practical. We commonly engage in activities to recalibrate our core state, sipping a calming drink or embarking on an invigorating jog. It's in these moments that we subconsciously seek to adjust our core affect to shape our emotions and outcomes. With this knowledge, we can consciously intervene, managing our emotional landscapes, by recognizing and responding to our core states. Whether it's by indulging in comfort food before a difficult conversation or ensuring ample rest ahead of key decisions, we possess more power than we realize. By tuning into our gut instincts, we can steer our emotional currents more favorably and navigate life's undulating waves with a keener senses. Part 3. From Adversity to Triumph, Cultivating Determination. The tale of James "Buster" Douglas is not merely one of athletic prowess. It's a narrative that underlines an often overlooked psychological marvel: determination. In 1990, facing the indomitable Mike Tyson, Douglas was anything but the favorite. He was an underdog, anticipated to be no more than a footnote on Tyson's path to greatness. Yet, with the passing of his mother, his most ardent supporter, Douglas drew from a well of resilience and conviction that nobody expected he had. It was Douglas's unyielding resolve, sparked by personal loss, that saw him take Tyson's relentless blows and still advance, enduring, persisting, until, in an unprecedented upheaval, he knocked out the champion in the 10th round. Douglas didn't just win a boxing match. He illustrated the power of enduring determination, a key that subsequent boxers would employ against Tyson. This indomitable spirit isn't exclusive to boxers. It is an essence that fuels all of us to clear seemingly insurmountable hurdles. People naturally brimming with determination are often the go-getters, the movers and shakers. But what about those who feel less inherently charged? The uplifting news is deterministic motivation isn't solely a born trait. It can be cultivated. Breakthroughs in neuroscience have pinpointed two brain networks central to this process. The emotional salience network sifts through our sensory input and emotional responses, guiding us on what matters most. Taking the baton from there, the executive control network empowers us to act upon these judgments, converting importance into action, into determination. Activating and reinforcing these networks is achievable through tangible lifestyle practices. Exercise, for instance, is a dynamo for fortifying the executive control network, while mindfulness and meditation can refine our attentiveness to emotions and bodily states, enhancing network performance. On the flip side, scrimping on sleep can hamper progress. Loss of sleep can wreak havoc on the emotional salience network, dragging down positive emotions and sapping motivational drive. In contrast, quality rest serves as a tonic, elevating mood and sharpening our decision-making prowess. Integrating incremental shifts in habit, such as prioritizing sleep and self-awareness, can bolster these neural bastions of determination. By nurturing these networks, you set the stage for higher endurance, greater drive, and ultimately a more accomplished life. Like Douglas's inspirational victory, such adjustments can transform underdogs into champions of their own stories, wielding determination as both shield and sword in the arena of life. Part 4. Emotional Evolution, the Power of Neuroplasticity. The timeless debate of nature versus nurture continues to spark controversy among scholars, igniting impassioned discussions on whether we are solely products of our genetic makeup or if the environment can mold us into different versions of ourselves. At the heart of this debate is a critical inquiry. If your natural temperament leans toward anger or shame, are your emotional responses destined to remain unchanged? A consensus amid the turmoil of opinions points towards a dual influence. Indeed, the tapestry of our persona is weaved with the threads of both our biological predispositions and the rich tapestry of external experiences. Emotional imbalances can wield profound effects on our lives, steering our happiness, relationships, and overall well-being. Yet, modern research presents an escape hatch from the potential confinement of our nature, the marvel of brain plasticity through epigenetics. Our emotional blueprint is as distinct as our fingerprints, an emotional profile, to borrow Gregory Cohen's term, that charts the individual landscape of our feelings. These profiles encompass a variety of emotional facets: the strength of our emotions, their triggers, intensity, and our recovery from them. For instance, while one might meet a traffic jam with fury, Another can encounter the same with unruffled patience. Psychologists frame our emotional constitution into four distinct categories: threshold, latency to peak, magnitude, and recovery. Each person's emotional response begins with a trigger, threshold, rapidly or gradually builds up to an emotional climax, latency to peak, flares to varying heights of intensity, magnitude, and then gradually subsides, recovery. A revelatory study with rats showcased this interface between nurture and nature, where maternal care played a pivotal role in gene expression. Anxious mothers bore anxious offspring, while serene mothers passed on a calmer disposition. While childhood and adolescence present a time of heightened neural adaptability, this shouldn't discourage adults from striving for personal evolution. Transformation is not exclusive to the young, it merely demands a more concerted effort. Sonia Lyubomirsky, a luminary in happiness studies, suggests actionable strategies for sculpting a more harmonious emotional landscape. Cultivating relationships, practicing altruism, embracing the moment, and sustaining physical activity are cornerstones in the restructuring of habitual responses and emotions. There exists no universal archetype for an ideal emotional profile. Diversity is the norm. The objective lies in achieving a harmonious balance, scrutinizing whether our emotions serve us constructively or if they commandeer our lives toward discord. Through mindful actions and an appreciation for our neuroplastic potential, we can chisel away at the rigidity of our past emotional responses and craft a more flexible, balanced, and enriched existence. Part 5. Guarding your emotional well-being. Ever ponder why the sound of laughter bubbling from a TV show entices your own lips to curl into a smile? The hidden mechanism behind this phenomenon has less to do with the humor itself and more with a remarkable aspect of human nature: the subconscious drive to mirror and harmonize with the emotions of those around us. Our brains come exquisitely designed for empathy and community, making us naturals at syncing our feelings with our peers. This automatic tuning to the emotional frequencies of others is termed emotional contagion. Research spanning 2 decades, spearheaded by institutions like Harvard and the University of California, San Antonio, unearthed a compelling find. The company you keep often determines your mood. Happiness, much like a common cold, appears to be communicable. The study concluded that people who surrounded themselves with joyful individuals tended to cultivate a similar disposition themselves, not solely from shared interests, but from emotional synchronicity. The influence of emotional contagion isn't limited to personal interactions. A notorious Facebook experiment in 2012 stealthily tweaked user feeds to skew either positively or negatively. The outcome was clear. Exposure to cheerful content resulted in more upbeat posts, while the opposite held true for those sifting through gloomier updates. Our virtual interactions, much like our physical ones, carry the power to shape our mood landscapes. In understanding this, it becomes imperative to take stock of the emotions we're absorbing. Should you find yourself ensnared in a web of negativity, it might be time to evaluate the sources influencing you. While not all emotional inputs are within our power to change, a heightened awareness can empower us to recalibrate our engagement, be it the realignment of our social circles or modifying our social media usage. The stakes of emotional management extend beyond mindset. Happiness resonates through our very biology. Research links higher spirits with reduced markers for disease risks and even boosts our immune system's defenses against common ailments like colds. The takeaway is crystal clear. Safeguarding your emotional well-being is vital, not just for your mind, but also for your body. By closely monitoring and selecting your emotional inputs, you can inoculate yourself against the pervasive spread of gloom and cultivate a more buoyant, healthful existence. Don't let unhappiness be your unwitting guest. Choose to surround yourself with positivity and watch your own emotions catch that beneficial wave. Part 6. Harnessing Emotions for a Successful Life. Within the realm of success, Emotional mastery is an often heralded but rarely dissected skill. The capacity to navigate one's internal emotional tides directly ties to triumph across various life domains, be it professional, personal, or interpersonal. Fortunately, the quest for emotional command isn't a cryptic riddle. It breaks down into three actionable parts: acceptance, reappraisal, and expression. Success is, in part, mastering these steps to employ emotions to your advantage. Begin with acceptance. Instead of futilely clenching at the reins of the uncontrollable, focus your energies on your reaction to them. The Stoic sages of Greek philosophy had this one nailed down: be impervious to the chaos around you. This resilience isn't about surrendering to fate, it's about recalibrating your expectations around the unmanageable fragments of life. Acceptance instills a hardy resilience, equipping individuals to manage even the most harrowing of circumstances. Next up, reappraisal. This step is about the narrative you construct around an event. Since emotions guide our understanding of experiences and shape our reaction paths, being able to tell a different story can shift our emotional response. Imagine you're stuck in the usual morning gridlock, the clock ticking away your punctuality. The natural inclination might be to stew in frustration. However, if you consider that this hiccup could spare you from a monotonous meeting, or envision your understanding boss navigated the same jam, you reverse the emotional spiral. Remember, honesty is key. This isn't self-deception, but a strategic search for the silver lining. The third and final step is to express your feelings. Contrary to the instinct to bottle up, expression often diffuses intense emotions. Confide in someone you trust, someone who can relate to your experiences, or simply journal your thoughts. The testament to this principle was observed in a study among traders in the high-stakes investment banking industry. Those who engaged in emotional expression, even harnessing them for intuitive reasoning, fared better than those who opted for stoic concealment. Such savvy navigation of one's emotional landscapes is called emotional intelligence. Those graced with this intelligence effortlessly read their own emotions and interpret the emotions of others. They emanate a magnetic charisma, a characteristic frequently associated with success. Your emotional reactions, whether running on autopilot or with deliberate intent, can either commandeer or be commanded. By fostering a conscious awareness and deliberate understanding of your emotions, you can take charge and wield them as tools for your achievements, transforming what might seem like unpredictable waves into navigable waters. Final summary. Our emotional heritage has been an inherent part of the human journey, guiding us through the perils of prehistoric existence to the complexities of modern life. They have been the silent sentinels, cautioning us about lurking dangers and energizing us to face head-on the challenges thrown our way. However, in a world that's vastly different from that of our ancestors, these same emotions could potentially lead us astray, transforming protectors into hindrances. The stirring choreography of emotions that once saved us from the venomous bite of a snake can now provoke anxieties that bar us from the thrills of life. The instinct to hit back, a useful reflex in an era of primal combat, could now land us behind bars. But this realization isn't a cue to suppress our emotional impulses. Rather, it's an invitation to dive deeper into the emotional wellspring and to understand the narratives they weave. By engaging with our emotions thoughtfully, we not only begin to comprehend their language but also learn to converse with them. Although human perfection remains a mythological muse, there is immeasurable value in persistently striving to attune our emotional responses. Through this endeavor, we can recalibrate them to better serve us in our pursuit of personal growth, relationship enrichment, and overall life satisfaction. In essence, our emotions are neither our adversaries nor our rulers. They are our allies, awaiting our acknowledgement and understanding. By heeding their wisdom and honing our emotional intelligence, we can reframe our existence, harnessing the ancient whispers of emotion to craft a symphony that resonates with the nuances of our modern narrative. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.